Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Coal is the topic of the day, with various coal inventory studies underway in South Africa and Botswana as part of roadmap initiatives. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer is in the studio to tell us more about this. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Firstly, can you tell us about coal road mapping and where it is currently taking place?
Yeah, since the climate change debacle and everybody pointing a finger at coal saying you to blame, investors are in a bit of a quandary as to what to do and where coal is going. And instead of doing it on an industry basis, we're now studying coal on a national basis. And you can see in South Africa we've got the coal roadmap, and it'll be an outcome of government and industry sitting down and finding out which way should we take this coal industry. And then the same thing is happening in Botswana. So this whole Southern African region is looking very intensely at coal. There's a moratorium on new coal permits, in fact, in Botswana, while the study takes place, and hopefully it will be completed early next year. I think the first lot of facts will come out of the South African road mapping in the third quarter of this year, and Botswana next year. But everybody's anxious that they get this behind and give investors a proper idea of where coal is going.
Now, another country with coal resources is India. What's the latest there?
Yeah, India is causing a lot of change in patterns of coal because India are prepared to take lower quality coal like we've been used to in South Africa. So, of course, Eskom gets a bit of a fright because you've got the Witbank coal field depleting, and that's where the rail is. And, of course, if you're going to export from India now, you could be exporting coal that Eskom could use. It's not as if Waterberg has come in and they can have a mixture, so there's a bit of concern. And then India itself is underperforming as a producer of coal versus their energy needs. So you can see a few sidestepping actions there between the environmental authorities in India and the power and energy authorities, and it seems that the ministry that heads the power and coal side of it is getting the upper hand.
Now, can you tell us the background to India's Neyveli Lignite Corporation seeking to acquire assets from South Africa?
Yeah, I think India is looking for coal, which is also flying in the face of the world blaming coal for its climate change. India has clearly said we're going ahead with coal, even the lower grade coal, and that means there's going to have to be a lot of back end cleaning up to make sure that it doesn't pollute the atmosphere, and also, but what can you do about the carbon dioxide? That is going to need some sort of special technique of carbon capture and storage. The Indians don't seem to be talking much about that at the moment. They're keen on getting power, and so you will see that they're looking for acquisitions, and Neyveli is just one of the companies looking in South Africa and Indonesia. There are many others. We saw JSW looking across the way in Botswana, wanting to buy CRC Energy, doing a long diligence study, and then that falling through. But there's nibbling going on in a lot of places, Tata in Mozambique, and so Indians are looking for coal. They clearly are basing their energy growth on coal. They're also basing it on imported coal. So you can see Neyveli looking to ditch its own coal mining activities or lignite or its hard rock activities in India and leverage its mining expertise in other countries so that it can actually produce power in India.
What do you think the future is for coal going forward?
Well, I think we've got to look at coal far more clearly. I think the coal roadmap will design a good way ahead because a lot of people, protagonists, are saying, listen guys, stop just burning this energy. There's too much carbon going into the air. We can do a lot more with that carbon. We can create a lot more jobs. It can create a lot more wealth in Southern Africa. We need to look at it as a source of chemicals, a source of even fuels, and not so much burning of it, please. And if you are going to burn it far more efficiently. And if you are going to mine it far more efficiently. Don't sterilize too much in the ground. And then also don't neglect the underground gasification possibilities, because that's even better than mining it. But when you get to the depths of 1,000 meters and more, some of the investors shy away from coal. They want close to surface coal. But often there is a possibility for gas. So you can get the underground coal gasification possibility. That is really a syngas, so it can also lower your carbon footprint. So if you use it as an energy source to generate electricity, bring that gas up, get it to generate electricity, your carbon footprint is lower. You don't have to be overly concerned then with as much as you would be with the carbon capture and storage. And at the same time, you don't have to physically mine that coal and bring it to surface because it's at greater depth. So you can also make chemicals from it, and as we see, Sasol, had a treasure chest of chemicals they did there. So a lot of protagonists are saying now, don't squander this coal endowment because firstly, we haven't got oil here in this region. So what else have you got? You've got the coal that you can actually gasify, or otherwise you can use the coal gas. But let's make up our minds what the best way is to go forward, and that's why we've got these road maps at the moment. But also thrown in, the government has decided that we must introduce renewable energy, and the target is quite high. And this is putting some investors off as well, because they think, well, if we invest in coal, perhaps the renewable energy side will take over, and where will we be? Where will our investment be? Which is quite a worry, because I wouldn't like to find ourselves in the January 2008 situation where we have another blackout. And I think we've been overly ambitious with regard to renewable energy. I don't think they're going to make those targets. So it should be more realistic, and saying, well, look, we're going to have to continue to mine for a long time. I mean, the outlook is more coal mining, not less. In the next to 2020 and beyond, we are, I think, burning 120 million tons of coal a year. We're going to be going up to 160 million tons of coal a year by 2020. So it's a long way off that you can actually replace this coal as an energy source. Also from an economic point of view, it tends to be much lower. Of course, if you start increasing the back-end costs, the cleaning up costs, and force carbon capture and storage, and force the carbon dioxide to be injected underground, that's going to lift the costs. But if they do it intelligently, as they were talking about in Botswana, where you do coal gasification, or you use gas from coal bed methane, and the carbon dioxide that you generate, from activities like that, you actually inject into those gas fields to enhance them. That means that they lift, the gas to a higher level, so that your costs of extraction are not as high. So I think it's good that they're thinking this out, and they think it out probably quite fast, but one always assumes they'll do it faster. But the road maps will, I think, at least, or they should arrive at a sort of a national standpoint on how they're going to deal with coal and make sure that they don't squander it. And some people say it should be seen as a miracle mineral because it can do so many things. So perhaps those people will have more say than we've had in the past. We're sterilizing a lot of coal, not mining coal that we could. And also we're leaving dumps around that have value. And perhaps we can start using those more effectively to generate electricity more efficiently. I think efficiency is the big thing.
Well, we'll just wait and see. Thanks very much, Martin.
Great pleasure, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.